Monday night,
Yes.
you are officially going to have more starts than any defensive player in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, what comes to mind when you wrap your brain around that?
I don't like to say I'm old, but when I hear stuff like that, I feel old. But I didn't know that till today, so it's kind of surprising. There's a lot of guys that I have a lot of respect for, and to even be mentioned among those names is special.
It's your 15th season in the NFL. How would you describe this season?
How would I describe this? It's been unpredictable. There's been some highs, there's been some lows, but really just a part of the journey and trying to enjoy it.
How has the team been able to weather some of the roller coaster ride this year?
I think we have a lot of good leaders, Aaron, Jalen, me, TJ, that really just stress that you got to stay even keel. From game to game, you can't have these fluctuations from going up and down. And we understand we've had our fair share of losses, but we've also had our fair share of wins. And you can point back to certain moments in the game where we either came up with or didn't, and stress that we can finish this out strong and still reach all of our goals.
How important was the Ravens win coming off of what happened against the Buffalo Bills? Not only, I know for you on the defensive side, you guys were really focused on turning things around.
Yeah.
There were the Fire Tomlin chants. There was just so much going on. To come out and play the way you did against the Ravens, what did that mean?
I think it meant a lot because there was a lot on the line. Going into that game, AFC North, these two teams are fighting for top of the division. And the best way to just, to cure everything is to win. And a lot of our guys just stressed that. And we didn't care how we won. It was not pretty by any means. I think our defense needs to keep playing a lot better to get to where we want to. But between DK and Aaron making some amazing passes and catches, our defense coming up with big plays, it just felt like whenever we needed that big play, it was there.
How'd you like the old man running in for a touchdown on that Boob's first rushing touchdown in 3 years?
I've been giving him a lot of hell for it. At the beginning of the year, he was trying to run, and I was like, I don't know. And he was like, once I get to the end zone, I'm doing the discount double check. And so he finally got there, and he was ready to do it for his moment.
Sure enough. How much do you appreciate a guy, given the longevity that you've had, seeing somebody like Aaron play at such a high level at this point in his career?
Well, one, I don't have to be the oldest guy in the room, which I love, but I can't say enough good things about how good of a teammate he's been and being bought into everything we've been about, talking to guys, spending time extra outside of just here. He has just been all about trying to win and all about trying to include every guy on this team. He's talked about things he would do at Green Bay, and we've tried to marry that in as well. But he has just been, how can we make this group the best it can be?
And that includes calling people out, right? Like calling out his receivers. After the Bills game, we need to put in more work. And does that resonate well with this group?
I think that resonates very well with our group. We're mature and we can all handle criticism. And if a guy who's played as long as he has and done it at a high level can do that, who can't? And who can't receive that criticism? Our guys are very open to being challenged. I think that shows the mark of a good team, that we can take criticism and apply it to the next game.
I remember back in the summer, you, who are a lifelong Steeler, were like, all right, Aaron, in so many words, do you want to be a Steeler or do you not? Let's decide this already. So there was him from afar. Now he's been your teammate for the better part of a season. How has your relationship with him grown?
Well, just addressing that situation, the way we got into it, everybody asked, how are you going to recruit Aaron? And my simple thing was, either you want to be a Steeler or you don't. I have nothing else to say. Like, I cannot beg somebody to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. You either want to be a Steeler or you don't. And he jumped on that train, and he's been about it. When he came into our facility and he just spoke to the guys and said, guys, I'm not looking to be a distraction. I want to be a part of this team. I'm sorry if it was. I've had things outside the building I had to take care of. And as a player, you respect that because we all have a million things going on. And so we've just really gotten to know each other over this time. We poke and rib at each other. We're always getting in each other's face about God knows what. But no, I love having him as a teammate. I love the knowledge he brings to this game. That's one thing that can sometimes be forgotten in our game, and our game is built on history. Our game is built on guys that have done this game for a long time, that had a lot of success, and then passed it on to the next generation.
Was there a point where you told him there was a team outing to go to a movie or something like that? Oh my gosh.
So I get a lot of these movie premieres, and I invite a lot of people. No one from like the team, the players came. But there was a lot of other people. I had my neighbors, I had everybody there besides just teammates. And so he felt uncomfortable, and I was like, dude, I invite everybody. It's not like he was sitting next to my son, and it was just me, him, and my son. Like, it was not that situation. But he's a big movie guy. His seat's right in front of mine. He's always watching the oldest movie possible. Mm-hmm. He's watching, like, the first Star Wars. And I'm like, dude, there's a lot of other ones you can see besides that one.
We progressed on to many other iterations of Star Wars.
He's going to start watching Indiana Jones soon or something. So.
Well, I mean, he has to act old in some parts of his life, right? So. Like you gotta be there for that. You have played your entire career for Mike Tomlin. Mm-hmm. To hear those Fire Tomlin chants, what was that like for you?
I took it as it was a reflection on us as players, because coach can only do so much. He prepares us for the games, but we have to execute. I'm not someone that runs away from criticism of another. I want to stand in between that, and I think all of our players should. But those Fire Tomlin, you hear that and you're just like, no, that can't be real. Like, he's a hell of a coach. He does everything right. Like, what he does for this organization goes beyond just the season. And, if anything, us as players have to answer that, and we got to keep answering it from here on out.
What is it then that people aren't understanding? Is his voice still resonating in this locker room as much as it ever has?
100%. His voice rings throughout everybody in this locker room. And there's a level of accountability in bringing up how we need to win these games. And if you can't gel with that, then you're in the wrong business. I've heard of horror stories across this league. There are plenty of players and teams desperate for that type of accountability. And if I can have that for the rest of my career, I think I've been with the best coach possible.
There are people who point to no playoff wins since 2016, and they say, you know what, it's time for a change. If that doesn't change, what would you say to those folks?
I'm hoping to change that this year. And I think we have a team that can change that. You look at the AFC, it's wide open right now. Everybody's got their blemishes, but it's who can get hot and who can get hot now. And so I'm looking for my group to get very hot and answer a lot of these questions. The playoffs are around the corner, but the playoffs started a long time ago for us.
How does Coach T handle all the outside noise?
He doesn't even entertain it. He's very single-minded and very focused because he's just trying to pour into the group.
That steadiness, that's like a superpower, isn't it?
It is. That steadiness is, I don't know how he does it from, so many different angles. He's able to just stay on the course and, provide leadership. He's able to provide knowledge and info of what you're going into, what you're stepping into, that situation, that week. And I think it provides a lot of clarity for our guys.
We see the two of you guys walk off the field after pregame warm-ups together. Why do you do that? And I don't know, what do you guys talk about?
Well, one, we're trying to figure out where we're kicking the ball and if we're going to defer or we're going to receive. And then it's just become somewhat of our ritual. He says, let's make sure we walk off this field slow after the game.
After wins?
Yes, after wins. But it's just reinforcing that, we'll get to do this again if we win. So,
You let Aaron go walk off the field with you now, too.
Yeah, it's just usually Aaron's talking to a whole lot of people. They love to hear him talk, so we're waiting around most of the time.
So is part of that, when you're walking off together after wins, do you take a minute to savor what you've done?
Yes.
To think about it, right?
I think we savor the chaos that erupts in sometimes these chaotic environments. Going to Baltimore or going across the country, there's passionate fans everywhere. And if you can, point out to, Steeler fans that have traveled a long way, you're thankful for that. Or the fans that hated you before the game, they're a little bit more distraught now. So we love to include that in our walks.
How did this get started with you and Coach T walking off the field together?
Oh, I think when I started becoming the captain that talks the most, the guy who's got to say heads or tails or, defer or anything, I think we just started communicating a lot more on that because it used to be Ben, so I wasn't going to mess with that. So it falls on me. TJ doesn't want to talk. Aaron doesn't want to talk. So it's kind of just falling on me for that.
Can you believe the Steelers have won 22 consecutive Monday Night Football games at home?
I'm glad I'm not part of all of those. That would have been crazy.
That's an insane streak. And I mean, obviously, Mike Tomlin's 11-0.
Yeah.
Right.
We've got some luck on our side. I think we're looking to change our night game history this year.
Oh, yeah. So that's a weird stat. So
Yeah.
you have not won a game that's kicked off at 4:25 or later this season. What's going on there?
I got to change the clocks or something. It's got
Is
to
it
be
the
an early game.
body
I don't
clock?
know.
You guys need naps at this? What's happening? Like 0-3 in prime time?
We got to change that. We've had some opportunities to change that, but we've fallen flat in some instances, especially in the second half. But no, we got to get this one on Monday night.
You're an 11-time defensive captain now running.
Mm-hmm.
This has been, I'd say, in some respects, a disappointing year for the defense. Would you characterize
It's
it as
been
such?
A tough year.
A tough year.
And
okay.
I think there's still a lot we can change about it. Tough doesn't have an ending. We just got some work to do.
Can you put your finger on it?
Our run game has not been up to par. If I could crack the code, that's where it starts. You start stopping the run, and then as you do that, you make a team one-dimensional, and then you can pin your ears back and really go after the pass. And so, you can make a big hoopla about our turnovers and other things we've done, but if we're trying to accomplish what we want to accomplish and go into the playoffs, we have some big running game opponents ahead of us. And what we're looking at is getting after that and, qualifying for the playoffs.
I know. I just think when you say that, I just think of the Lions, right? That like a two-headed monster.
Yeah.
Right.
Lions this week, especially in Miami, the way they've turned it around. Baltimore, Cleveland, these teams thrive off the run. And if we're going to have the success we talk about, what better way to start than with them?
So how did you turn it around after the Bills game, when the Bills ran all over this defense, and you're able to go in the next week and at key points of the game really hold them to 3 points rather than touchdowns? What change or what adjustments did you guys make?
Well, I think in the Bills game, there's a couple of situations where we did not handle well. Coming out of half, offense turns over the ball, and we didn't handle it as a defense of going back on the field, handling that sudden change. And one, our offense didn't turn over the ball in the Baltimore game, but two, we felt like any situation where they do get in the red zone, it's got to be 3 or less. And I thought we handled it as the game just kept progressing, got some key 4-down stops. It's a collective of different things we got to do, but red zones, sudden change, 4th down stops, and then also stopping the run. You do that, that's going to give yourself a really good chance to win the game.
How are you approaching then this stretch run of the season? You're 7-6. You are right now in first place in the division, and you really have everything ahead of you. So what's the mentality? What's the swing thought here down the stretch?
I got everything in front of us, and we have a chance to attack it. We have a chance to answer everything. We don't have to look around and say, oh man, I hope you guys get us into the playoffs. No, it's all in front of us. And what better way than these tune-up games? And they're not even tune-up games. These are playoff games every week. And I love it. Like, I don't have to look around. I don't have to wait for somebody else to make a play. I can make a play. My team can make a play. And I like that level of accountability from our group.
You're not going to have your buddy TJ Watt. We know that on Monday. He had surgery this week to repair a partially collapsed lung. I know you guys are very close.
Yeah.
And you have been since he arrived here. He talks about that all the time. What was this week like?
A little bit surprising. You don't know what's going to happen with the teammate, but just talking to him before, after the game, we're talking about how we got to address this week, and hearing the shocking news that he's got to deal with the surgery, and you're more concerned with just the health of your friend, and football can wait. But at the same time, I got to make sure I hold down the fort for him and make sure when he gets back, he gets a little bit more rest, and we're ready to go by the time playoffs start.
You were able to talk to him this week?
I have been.
He's in good spirits, or?
He's a little bummed he can't play, but health comes first, you know, and it should be 52 other guys stepping up in this moment for him. He'd be kicking himself if he could play, but, you know, it's up to us to hold down the fort.
How much do you miss TJ when he's not able to be out there on the field?
Well, there's nothing TJ hasn't seen in this league. Every block, he's a leader on the field. His splash play, awareness, but that gives an opportunity for some other guys to step up too, whether it's Nick Herbig, Alex Highsmith, Jack Sawyer. We've been talking about this depth that we could have guys to step in these moments, and now we're going to count on it. We're going to ask those guys to step up. We're not going to ask them to be TJ Watt. That's one thing we're not going to do. But we're going to ask them to just play sound football. And, you know, if we do that, we can win this game.
I mean, this team has allocated more of its resources on the salary cap to defense than any other team in the NFL. This is the hallmark of the Steelers franchise is defense.
Yeah.
How much of that responsibility do you feel every time you put this uniform on?
It's not that it's the most paid defense. I think it's you put on that black and yellow jersey and you understand that you're representing the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're representing the Joe Greens, the Joey Porters, the Mel Blunts. You know, there's countless amount of names, Troy Polamalu's, and they're not ghosts, they're legends. And the fact that you get to wear the Pittsburgh Steelers jersey, there's a level of football that needs to be played. And if you're not playing up to that level, you shouldn't be on that field.
You are among the most decorated in terms of postseason recognition for what you've done of defensive players, anyone in the league since 2017. How much longer do you want to play? What do you see as your future here in Pittsburgh?
My future is I'm trying to win a Super Bowl before I hang it up. I really just want to take advantage of these opportunities I'm given because it's not guaranteed. I want to be a dad and want to be a good husband. But I'm having fun playing this game as long as I can, and as I sacrifice from them, I'm able to play a game I love.
When you think about the fact that this team hasn't won back-to-back games since week 6, how critical is it in facing the Dolphins that you establish some consistency, that you really build upon what you did against the Ravens?
Coach LeBeau used to always talk about you got to stack like hotcakes. And so I'm in dear need of some hotcakes right now. We got to have some consistent performances. And like I keep saying, everything's in front of us. And to do that, and to go where you want to, you got to win, back-to-back games and back-to-back-to-back games.
So many people talk about the Steelers. There's like this constant dialogue around this team. They're one of the most talked about teams in the country. Hotly debated. So much is said about the Steelers on so many different levels. As a player, how do you really put that to the side and focus on the task at hand?
Hold yourself to a higher standard. It's not what everybody else is saying. It's what your coaches are asking you, what you're asking yourself. That's all that should matter. What your teammates are asking you. It's a buy-in. It's a trust that you're going to do your job and you're going to do it at a high level. And that's all that matters. I could care less about what everybody says about me as long as I'm respected by my teammates and by my coaches. And
so what's the vibe internally in this locker room?
It's high. We understand guys got to step up, but we're not running away from that. I think it's an accountability where we got to make plays. We got to go out there and play our best ball in the month of December and into January.
You've been to 7 Pro Bowls since 2017. That's tied for the most of any player in the NFL. What keeps you going?
That sticky lumbar I don't have. All the other accolades are, great, but there's no such thing as there's no such other feeling you get than winning a Super Bowl. And I've watched friends around the league do that, and every year you're just jealous, and you're asking yourself, what am I doing wrong? And I got to answer one of these questions one of these years with a trophy.
Got a nice trophy case upstairs here with a few. They could, I'm sure they could make some room.
Yes, there's 6 of them up there, and when we get to have all of our former players come back and they talk about their times, you feel jealous. You feel like you're not part of the real party. You're just outside waiting in line. And so I've always been very like keen on that. When I was a younger guy, I just wanted to spend so much time around like the Troys and the James Ferries and Casey Hamptons. They had so much knowledge, and just being a fly on the wall, I felt like I was just amongst like the greatest of all time.
And now, do you feel like you're one of those guys too?
No,
like
no.
You don't.
No,
You're not
feel
the
like
elder statesman imparting wisdom on
I'm imparting
the youngsters.
wisdom, but I'm trying to climb this journey with them, hand in hand, and arm in arm. We're all just trying to work together.
So, Secret Santa, you've given puppies away
I've
the
given
last couple of
puppies
years.
away, yes.
How does that go over?
It goes over. It goes over great. I make sure there's one guy that at least wants the dog. We've had some really cool gifts given in the Secret Santa, and this year should be pretty cool too.
Okay, I know we're not giving anything.
Yeah,
away.
I can't give it away now, but
Right.
it's not a dog this year. I promise, guys.
It's not a dog. Okay.